Hello Libra, thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. For supportive oracle cards, I'm using the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen Raish Baskin. And I've mentioned it on all the other ones in this series for this week. If you look up the creators, a lot of times you can find their websites or something. I looked up Stacey DeMarco about a month ago, and she was linked into some site. I think she had her own site, and she links you over to where you can get her cards. And there's a whole bunch of other good creators there. It was like a rabbit hole. I went down that rabbit hole, and I spent a good hour or two, maybe three, looking at all these great decks. So if you're a card enthusiast, that might be fun for you. Or if you know somebody who is. You know what I mean? Just thought I'd throw that out there. Okay. Libra. The beginning part of this is perseverance, dissipating, and the Six of Swords for you. So my first thought is this is a situation that has always been rough for you. It feels like it's a person, quite frankly. They're always difficult for you to deal with. It just never seems to change. And at this point, the way you're persevering through it and kind of calming the situation down is literally just temporarily walking away from it. I think this might be a successful way to deal with this person, is just to like give a little bit of information and then like just kind of take a vacation from them for a minute, for a little while. Maybe kind of like talk to them today and leave them alone for a good week. It may be one of those type of people. Kind of like you can tell them stuff, you can try to help them, try to get them to do things, but it's a very slow movement forward. You got to give them some information today, give them about a week to digest it, like literally, before it's going to have any positive effect. And I feel like that's what you're doing this time around, at least. Kind of like I'm persevering through it by just taking the energy out of it. I'm telling them what I need to have to do, then I'm just kind of walking away and leaving them alone for a good week. I'm getting the enlightenment here with the Page of Pentacles. You are having an effect, but with the Pentacles especially, Earth and Air, not so compatible. Not really. Not in astrology anyway. Earth, you could tell, you could give that information there, but you got to give them time to really kind of soak it up, make sense of it themselves. They have to decide for themselves if they think you make sense or not. They got to hash it over with them, their own. Like, they have to go through it a few times, look at it at all the different angles, think about if it really makes sense for what they want to do, if it really adds up for the situation as a whole, if it adds to the foundation, if it makes the... Like, they have to look at it in a few different ways and decide if it's really what they think is right. As long as you give them quality information, and by quality information, it, like, you can't... You don't give them any fillers. You just got to give them the facts you have. Keep it just basic to the facts, what they can do, what they can build with. You know what I mean? Kind of like we have wood, we have nails, we have a location. You just leave it at that. You don't tell them, like, we could get this, we could get that, we're hoping for this type of thing, we're hoping for that. Leave that out. The coulds and the hopes, leave that out. We have wood, we have nails, we have a location. You give them that information, that's the facts, these three things already exist, the wood, the nails, the location, and then they go from there, and then they decide what they think is right. Well, okay, we already have the location, we have the wood, we have the nails, we can start building a plan or deciding, what type of structure is possible based on how much of each we have. And that's how they kind of work. Just give them the facts. And I think that's what you're doing with this part. You're kind of like, yep, that's how this works. I give them the bare facts. I don't add any frills, no niceties to it. The bare facts. And I leave that with them, and I leave them alone for a good week. I keep getting that, like a good week. And it goes a lot smoother. I need to give them time to kind of soak in what's going on here and what type of assets we have so they can make sense of like what possibilities really do exist here in their opinion. By doing this, it does seem to elevate the situation. The thing is with Pentacles, they're great workers. They're very diligent. They're very dependable. Earth, you know. Forgiveness and the Star comes in. I'm noticing this right off the bat. With the forgiveness, what do we got to forgive here? Whatever you wanted to happen here, I feel like whoever you're dealing with this Pentacle energy, they're kind of like, well, that's not really supported by the raw materials we have in front of us right now. I feel like that's what they're telling you. We've got wood, we've got nails, we've got a location. We can't really make a beautiful cathedral here because we don't have stained glass, and we don't have the stone to make those type of pillars and the steps. What we do have is enough to make a really nice barn or a really nice house, and we can get that going. The forgiveness with the Star card is like, I feel like this person is saying, I know what you want to do, Libra, but this is what we have. This is what the materials would warrant us to do. So this is the closest we can come with the materials that we have to go where you want to go. So the forgiveness with the Star is like, okay, it's not exactly what I wanted it to be, but that is actually pretty good. It actually suit this situation pretty good. And it's kind of like, that's the forgiveness, kind of like, oh, so you don't think it would really go towards that way, the way I was hoping to with what we have currently. We'd have to add some more things in. But you are telling me with what we currently have, we could go this direction. And you're like, actually, that direction is pretty good. That would make sense. We could actually use that, and it might actually work out even better. That's the forgiveness. You're like, yeah, that works good. Maybe not the original plan, but still, it's more sound. And you're kind of like, yeah. Self-worth with the High Priestess. You evaluate other things you might have coming forward, and you're like, all right, well, we did have more funds at our discretion, but not everybody knew that, and you didn't tell everybody that. I feel like it's kind of like there's more possibilities here, but you're kind of careful about letting that be known because you're like, I don't want people just running in here and deciding what they want to do and changing things around. I don't want them just depleting the whole situation. Like, it's kind of like if you have $1,000 in the bank, you don't want people knowing that's there and then they just start spending that money willy-nilly and then all of a sudden you have nothing in the bank. You're trying to keep that more on the down low. That way when you need it, it's available and you can disperse this and have it readily available and it's not getting drawn or depleted too quickly. So you have other possibilities here, but you're like, you know what, that's $1,000. I was going to add that into the building costs and we were going to get more stuff so we can build that cathedral. But they're saying we could do this barn, this really nice barn, which could really house some other things. We could do a lot of things with that too. And then I could use this other money to put stuff in that barn, and that could make a better situation. And you got the High Priestess, kind of like, not the original thought I thought I was going to do, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to take what I actually have and where this is going, and I think I can make this a little better. We might have to change a few other things in this plan, but I think this might go really well. Self-worth with the High Priestess, like, I think this could be worth more. And you're just kind of going with what they're already seeing, and you're like, you know what, this can go better. Let's keep going with this. Let's let this keep happening. Again, that Pentacle energy, very good at being stable, responsible, very diligent. The workaholic energy, they put in their effort. Pentacles would match your effort. Whatever effort you're putting in, they're reliable to hold up their end of the bargain. Workaholic coming in with the Ten of Cups. I'm okay with the workaholic energy because I don't think it's permanent. But I feel like you and whoever you're dealing with that Pentacle energy are putting in all the effort necessary to make this go forward. And it is solidifying quite well. It's going in a direction that's different. I keep saying that for some reason. And it's turning out to be better and better all the time. And you're liking it. The Ten of Cups especially, kind of like, you know what, I'm so glad. I feel like you're looking at this when it really gets going and it really starts flourishing. Like, I am so glad I had this Pentacle energy here, this person, this Earth person here. I am so glad they're a part of this because this is turning out much different than I thought it would. Going a different direction than I really had planned for, but it's so much better. And I'm very thankful. And the Earth energy you have working with you is so reliable. You're like, I love this. I am so thankful for this. This is good. This is real good. Now, in the environment, you've got perfection, wisdom. We got one more card coming, but I think we got to wait for that for a second. Perfection and wisdom. You have people here working very hard to make this turn out the best they can. What you might not be seeing, but you might want to add yourself into, is to find out what they're doing a little bit more, in not to change it, but to find out not only what they're doing, but how are they feeling about it. Because when I'm getting that perfection, I feel like this energy you're working with is holding themselves to a high standard. You are very happy with what they're doing. You are very, very, very happy with what they're doing. But they might not be. They might think that they're not making out as well as they thought they should be. Like, they're making the grade. You're very happy with what they're doing. But they're kind of like, to them, they're falling short. Like, they're running at 80%. To them, they're running at 80%, and they should be like 110%. They like to be the overachiever. But you're like, no, 80% is great. They might need you to kind of boost them up a little bit and remind them, like, hey, you're doing great. I'm very happy with this. I think the situation is turning out better than it originally was. They might need a little bit of that emotional boost, a little bit. Because I feel like that could be like a drain going down the line to where they're not happy with their own participation. You're very happy. You're like, they're great. Why would you not be happy? But they're expecting more of themselves. You want to figure that out and nip that in the bud. That could be a problem later on. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be a problem for you, but like if they are feeling like they're failing and they're not, that could make them more reluctant to be a part of this going forward, and they might actually want to leave it, and you don't want this energy to leave. This is very helpful energy. This is a very good, positive energy. You want to keep this energy. And I think that's why you want to kind of get in there, see what they're feeling about what they're doing, how they're progressing, and you want to remind them, I think you're doing great. I love it. They may not, because I'm getting that all over and over again, that they're feeling like they're not making the grade or they're not doing good enough. You might have to boost them up a little bit and show them, no, you're doing really good, and I'm really happy with this. This is good, because you want to keep them involved. You want them to stay involved. They need to accept that they are doing, see, this is where this is coming in. If they can accept that they are really doing a good job here and that they're holding their weight, they don't have to be that overachiever. They're doing like I'm thinking like of a math test, you know what I mean? You score an 80 on a math test, in my eyes, that's pretty good. But this is somebody who's usually really good at math, and they usually ace the test, and if there's any bonus questions, they ace the bonus questions as well. That's the type of person this is. They usually ace the test and the bonus questions. So they're usually that overachiever. When they're getting an 80 on a test that they're used to being like the top mark, it upsets them, it bothers them. And you have to remind them, no, you're still quite good. You're great. I'm very thankful for you. They have to accept that. You need to see it. As long as you see it, I feel like you can handle it. Okay. Now, the way this is ending, you got destiny, service, faith. Well, I'm going to leave faith over there. Destiny and service, but it's also coming forward with the Knight of Swords and the Sun card. I do think that destiny and service is telling me this person is going to stick with this, but there's going to be I feel like they're going to be kind of reluctant to get back into it for some reason. Or they're going to be reluctant to stay with it. There might be another opportunity you have coming in that you want to include them with, and they might be very reluctant because they are holding themselves to a standard that they just didn't feel like they did good enough. And it just makes them feel uncomfortable. They don't like that. The Knight of Swords makes me really feel like there's going to have to be a talk about it. There's definitely going to have to be a talk about it. And you're going to have to show this person and really help them understand that they did great. And it's not human to be perfect all the time. It's just not human to, you know? And you want them, you really want them to be a part of this. They're really good for this. That's again why I think you want to see this more. The sooner you unearth this and see this, the easier it is it's going to be a lot easier to move past this moment and just keep them involved The sooner you see it, you can start talking to it, especially because there's a lot of earth energy here. And when you talk to them, like in the very beginning, like you tell them something, you give them the information, you got to let them sit on it for a week, and then they can mull it through and think it over for themselves before they'll go forward with it. That's still going to hold true at this point. You know what I mean? So the sooner you see it, the sooner you're able to talk to it, the sooner you're able to show them they are of high value here, the less you're going to have to wait later to pull them into the next situation. And it's a really good thing. They're going to have some faith that they do belong, but they will see. The next time around, it's going to go a lot better. I feel like they're going to be that person acing the test and getting the bonus questions again, which is also going to make you extremely happy, kind of like, wow, I thought you were great before, and now they're knocking it out of the park. They can't knock it out of the park every time. I feel like they have to accept that. They cannot knock it out of the park every time. That's not human. A robot, maybe. A robot could do that, but that's not a human thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, this Sun card, I love this card, but like this person, you got to keep them involved. They're really good for this situation. All right, I think we're good. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.